Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Power of Words author panel at the Arts Exchange. The Arts Exchange is generously supported by a grant from the Community Foundation for Greater Atlanta and the Metropolitan Arts Atlanta Arts Fund. Additional funding provided by Fulton County Arts and Council under the guidance of Fulton County Boards of Commissioner, Georgia Council for the Arts, through appropriations from the National Endowment for the Arts, the Lubo Fund, along with our boards and individual donors and community partners. Consider donating today. You can find us at artsexchange.org. Thank you for joining us for a little bit this Sunday afternoon. I remember what day it is. And today I am interviewing Mr. Daryl Funn, or Mr. Funn, as we call him in our neighborhood. Hi, Mr. Funn. How are you doing this afternoon?
I am groovy. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, I know a lot of things have changed in the last couple of years. So, I wanted to catch up with how are you and what have you been doing and what's going on in your world right now?
Well, let's see. I've cut my hair, as a lot of people are going like, oh my goodness, you cut it. Just like you, but yours is growing faster than mine. Yeah, we're going to say that. There's been a lot of cool things. Let's see, this year I'll be turning 50, so I'm super excited about that. And one of the cool things was that I actually finished writing my newest novel and I actually published it. So that's kind of like the big shenanigans. Also, I'm a teacher at Tri-Cities High School. Whoa!
Woo!
I know. So, yeah, there's been
That's
a lot
exciting.
going on.
Yeah. So, in the dark times of the 2020 pandemic beginning, um, how did you spend your time? Was majority of that time spent working on your novels or readjusting to how did 2020 impact you and your work?
So it was really interesting. The best part about it was um, I don't mind being stationary, because it gives that creativity time to explore. And so I started expounding on all the things that I already do. So I started painting more, started drawing more, and I had this idea for this book for like the longest time. And I had the ending, and I had like kind of a beginning, like it was kind of there. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and try to finish it before we turn 50 and then put it out there? So I had set a goal that I was going to try to finish it. Boy, was it difficult. So for the most part, I tried to keep myself focused, just by kind of getting into all the creativity spaces that I have already, expounding on some,
Yeah.
being a better puppeteer, all that other cool stuff.
Yeah. I think for me it was tricky because it was hard for me to focus. Like I was in the middle of working on my new poetry collection, Dirt. So I have a good chunk of it done, but it was like it got to a point for me where I was kind of paralyzed for a couple of months and uh, couldn't wrap my head around any of my creative parts or my creative impulses and just kind of hibernated and then got overwhelmed and again took to more of the um I guess artsy, more visual artist parts of myself. So started making miniatures and I started um a little bit of painting, some ideas for art drop-ins, like because I mean I was running a space where people could come in and do art, and then you say people can't come in. Um, so I was like, this is not going to last long. We can make things that we're going to do in the future, and then then paralyzed again. But it's good to see all your creative energies being pushed to the front. What are some things that happened that changed for you, that you found yourself doing more physically that you didn't do um, when the world was
Okay.
already on the open?
Well, I mean, everybody knows that I like to walk. Everybody knows that I love doing that. But actually, I committed myself to, in the beginning part of the pandemic, I would walk 3 miles every day. But I wouldn't necessarily time myself,
Yeah.
try to, I was like, whatever. And then I figured, well, let's see how fast I can actually do it. without running, because a black man running in any neighborhood is definitely a dangerous situation. So how can I walk fast without looking suspect? So that was kind of what I did. So I managed to get my 3 miles down to about 37 minutes.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, well, that's pretty good. And then I did it consistently for a while. Then I said, you know what? I'm starting not to pay attention to what's around me because I was so focused on walking that I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm gonna walk. I'm just gonna enjoy the time. It definitely gave me time to work on my haiku. It gave me time to work on poems. It gave me a time to do a whole bunch of things that I was like super excited about. And in the process, I managed to drop a total of 40 some pounds. So, that's always a good thing when you be like, hey,
Right.
I'm thinner, lighter, breeze
Yeah.
blows me away. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that was one of the most physical things that I've done because, not getting out, not being able to see people, not being able to embrace them like you used to, all that stuff can take like a real toll on you. And then when you're like stuck inside, and you're like, okay, I'm about to go crazy. So getting out and walking was kind of like my therapeutic moment.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel that. I started going to the gym around the corner, the Salvation Army gym around the corner with my kids, and we would walk for an hour on the inside walker thing. Yeah, no running because we're wearing masks. I ain't trying to pass out at the Salvation Army. Um, but so that was something that actually happened for me too. It's just trying to have my body do things other than sit. You know. Um, so I know I'm pretending like I don't know Mr. Fun very well, but Mr. Fun and I, we do a lot of projects together. One of the projects that we do together is Java Speaks, which is formerly Java Monkey, but we all know Java Monkey Coffee Shop burned down. Um, but we have continued to do this thing virtually. So I'm pretty proud of us that we've been able to do almost 3 solid years
Yeah.
of every Sunday night poetry open mic and
And the
writing
workshop.
workshop. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think adding the workshop was actually pretty cool because when we tried to do the workshop at Java Monkey, people just didn't show up.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's like they would come sporadically, but now that we're doing it virtually, we got a lot of people that show up. So I'm like super excited about it. Like, nice.
No. I mean, it's great. I mean, for me, it's great because it's like I may not share every time you give one because I'm like, ooh, that's going somewhere. We're not sure where it's going. We're gonna save that and share it later when we figure out where it's going. But yeah, I think it's gotten a lot of people. It gets their creative juices flowing, and just writing it out. Sometimes very, 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 very cathartic. I won't say therapeutic because it's not therapeutic. Take your behind to therapy. It's cathartic.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so, so with that, I'm excited. Do you have any poetry projects coming up, fine sir, or any
I
poetry events coming up that we should know about?
I do. Even speaking on today, I am going to Greenville, South Carolina to compete in their haiku death match to retain my 2021 title and be two-time champion of the haiku world and talk a whole lot of smack more that I would love to do. Um, let's see. So also, I'm just going to put this out there this way. The 20th of August, my art will be on display at the Arts Exchange, and I'm going to do kind of like a mini little feature, and we'll talk about the book some more. You can buy
Okay.
the book. Yay.
Yay, please buy the book. You can also buy the book, um, you know, today if you so
Yes.
if you're so inclined. We'll put the information in the chat. Anything we put in the chat will pop up on both of our feeds. So if you want to put your link in the chat, that's awesome. Also, if you out there listening or watching us this afternoon, if you have any questions for Mr. Fun, please feel free to put them in the chat and I will shout them out as I can. So let's talk about these books, sir. How
Yeah.
many books in total do you have? And how are they related to each other, if they are related to each other?
So it's a very interesting story. There are a total of 4 books.
Why do you have
2 of
5 fingers up? You had 5 fingers up when you said 4 books. Okay, 4 books.
Your thumb is not a finger, it's an appendage. 4 books. It is an appendage, it is not a finger.
Gotcha.
So 4 books, 2 of which are related. So the very first book is called The Day the Sun Wouldn't Rise. And it was really an interesting kind of this, we all had things that we did with our exes, like games that we used to play or like all kinds of stuff. So I had an ex a long time ago where we used to play this game called What If? And the goal is to try to put yourself in a precarious situation where there's totally illogical explanation for it and see how the other person will respond. Generally trying to get them to be upset, right? So I did one that was so good, got her so mad that I was like, oh, I'm going to write a book about this. So I fashioned my entire first book around the concept of the what if. And it's like great, it's funny, and it's actually written in poetry and prose. So like you read it like a book, but there's like little poems and all kinds of stuff happening that kind of tells this narrative. The second book, which is actually my novel called Misery Loves Company. And that was a story that I started but never really finished. And I kind of had this really cool idea of what I wanted to do. And then a best friend and I, we decided to write a relationship book. Either one of us giving relationship advice. But we saw all the crazy books that were out there. They're talking like, you know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and think like a man, act like a woman, and all the stuff that was being spoken to. And we felt like no one is really dealing with the trueness of relationships. And so we decided that although there are many different types of couples, we were going to address what we knew about the man and woman relationships that we know and how we know men and how we know ourselves and the difference between boys and men, and trying to give those who deal with men the understanding of like, this is how you should look at it, not all this frou-frou stuff that you get. And then the most recent book is In the Company of Others, which is a follow-up to Misery Loves Company. And so, yeah, that's the second book, then I have the third book, and then the fourth book. The 2 and 4 actually go together. So when you read number 2, you're going to get to the end, and you're going to go like, wait, what happened? You're going to pick up book number 4. You're going to read it. You're going to be like, I still don't know what happened. But hey, now what happened here? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. I know we have a trailer for your recent book, which is titled
In the Company of Others.
In the Company of Others. So we're going to show that video now, okay?
You don't feel the same, wondering when it changed. Did you come to play, my baby? I'm running your race, my heart's in its place, wondering if you'll stay. I'm tired of figuring out whether you're in or you're not.
Very nice. Very nice. So we can pick up your books anywhere books are sold, right?
Yes, and actually, it's being sold at Madu Bookstore. Especially, you can also pick it up at Urban Grind Coffee House. You can pick it up from me personally. You can get it from the Amazon, from the Kindle, all of that cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can go directly to Mr. Funn's website and buy it directly from him
Yeah,
so that, Amazon not
I get
all
all
over.
the money.
Right.
I get all
Right.
the money.
Let's give the poets all the money. Let's give the authors all the money. This is the time we come to sharing.
Okay.
Give us a PG-13 version of 15, 20 minutes of what you want to share. You ready?
Totally awesome. I can totally do that.
Excellent.
All right. So, often what happens is people always ask me about Misery Loves Company. Before I even get into, as you can see, this is what the cover looks like in full when you see it, when you open it up. This is a piece that I created. I wanted to, one, exemplify a love triangle, but not necessarily giving you one person's bad, one person's good. I like to give you like this really cool aspect of everything. So with Misery Loves Company, it kind of features the story of two friends from high school who are now in college, and they are friends, not with friends. They're totally friends. But of course, emotions and feelings kind of get there. So the guy, Christopher, meets someone. He likes this person, his best friend, whose name is Misery. She's already got someone. But hey, what happens when you try to have your cake and eat it too? You've got your best friend and your man. So it's a really cool, exciting story. And the great thing about it is something that a lot of people will always comment on. Two people at the end of the story have a little hanky panky, but I don't tell you who. I know. But I will tell you this. In this new book, In the Company of Others, you at least find out one answer, because it could be a multitude of people. There are multiple stories that are happening. But the other things that are cool about my writing and my books and my novels is that I always want you, the reader, to have a great experience. I don't want it to just be where you pick up the book and read it. So there's also a music playlist that goes along with it. But then also there are food and drink recipes inside the book. So let's say that when the characters are having a party and you go like, ooh, I wonder what this particular drink would taste like, or I wonder what's in it. You flip to the back of the book, the recipe is right there and you can make it, you can taste it, you can try it, and you can really, really get the experience of it. But also, if you listen to the music when certain things are happening, like there's a scene in Misery Loves Company where they're at the club and they're all dancing, and it goes from a soca song called Dollar Wine, and then it immediately flips into this song by Luther Vandross that's like really, really slow, really, really. But if you listen to the song while you're reading, I feel like you will gather the emotions of that moment and you will see how it explodes when the person just pushes away. So, of course, I'm not going to give you everything because I want you all to get the book and enjoy it. So, like I said, there's like recipes and for food and for drinks, but also you've got music. And I did the exact same thing in the company of others. So there are food recipes. You have a music playlist. You have drink recipes that happen throughout. And the amazing thing is, I was actually able to bring back characters that kind of tie in and, you know, give you a deeper insight into the main character, Christopher, so you get a better idea about him. Now, also, I did say before that only the book Misery Loves Company and In the Company of Others are linked together. But actually, my very first book, The Day the Sun Wouldn't Rise, there are some overlapping moments. You don't necessarily need to read The Day the Sun Wouldn't Rise before you get to the others, but it gives you a deeper insight into a lot of things. Like you see how characters actually cross over and how they will play a role in every step going forward. So the thing also with when it comes to writing is that a lot of times I've seen books that have been out there that kind of portray women as either this super strong. I don't need anyone, and I can take care of my own life. I'm great at everything. But then she meets this downtrodden, beaten up guy who's hard on his luck. She falls in love with him. He brings her down. She brings him up. They have this whole. I was like, I don't know anything about those types of relationships. So what I decided to do was to write about what I know about, where there are good people and then their baggage, their past, their feelings, their emotions, their unresolved issues come to the forefront, and then they, kind of set the stage for things that happen. And you can look at the guy, you can look at the female, and you can say, I either know someone like that, or I am that person. And you'd be like, or I was that person at some particular point in time. So I want you to kind of go through this experience and like really, really identify with the characters and feel like you actually know them. So that was kind of cool. So it's really hard for me to try to read from the book. So I was actually told that I could like share a poem or two, kind of give you some insight into some stuff. So with that being said, I'm going to try this poem. If I mess up, forgive me. Just remember all the other good stuff that we talked about earlier and just have fun on that. So, poem. If I told you by the end of this poem I could fix all of your relationships, would you believe me? No. Okay, well, let's start with you. Now, this is not the part where I say you are the one with the problem and I'm the man with the perfect way to solve them. Won't bring up every ex you ever had and how they never appreciated you. See, before a diamond is appraised, it already has value. Now, you are the diamond if I somehow forgot to mention, but while we're here, I really need you to listen, and I really hope you hear me. I'm going to speak loud, and I'm going to speak clearly. So clear you think I got glass in my veins and saran wrap for skin. You are where this always begins. See, there are boys and there are men. We are all males. You ask what's the difference. See, when a man looks at you, he sees beauty marks, not scars. Boys, they shoot for the moon and hope to land a star. Men never look for space. They just create the opportunity. Now, both boy and man can see your femininity, but only one can comprehend. You're not some 5-star chick. Woman, you are a galaxy. But more than that, a man wants to explore you. He is never content with just a surface view. He doesn't see you or treat you lesser or greater. You are both equal. He is not trying to be your savior. Now, I know what you're thinking. Them dudes, they don't even exist in these times. Using the statement, a good man, well, that's kind of hard to find. And you see, finding one, that's not really your plight. But when you say that word man, you're not actually using it right. Okay, let me ask you then. If he is your man, but you are his girl, why do you get mad when he acts like a fool and plays you? I'm going to say that again. If he is your man, you are his girl, why do you get mad when he acts like a boy, a fool, and he plays you? See, it's not about those standards that you claim. It's about the ones you cling to. Now, before we talk to you, we already know where you fit. It's all in that word woman and how you choose to carry it. Okay. All right. I see that you're kind of like, yeah. Another way to tell the difference between boys and men. You see, boys sometimes buy what you're selling, but men make investments that gain interest over time. You see, this is how a relationship is defined by how much it appreciates. But Mr. Funn, you see, I don't need a man. Okay, I never said you do. But if that's all you heard in this, then this poem is not for you, but the one sitting next to you really needs to hear this. It's not about needing a man. It's about fixing relationships. Okay, stop. Pause. Now, there are many different types of couples out there, and I would say that my truth, well, it may not apply to them all, but I can say with confidence, a man like me loves a woman who is never complacent, willing to try new things, and if there's trouble, we face it together, always side by side. Listen twice as hard as you talk is rule number 1 in this relationship guide. See, the next time a dude tries to talk to you, just pay attention to what he says. Within seconds, a boy or a man will show you what the difference is. And this applies to friendships, lovers, and even acquaintances. Now, I know we reached the end and you still don't think I showed it. But if your heart is really precious, why are you letting weak boys hold it? So that's that poem right there. So yeah, I figured I would try to tie in my my relationship book. It's called Take That to the Bank. It is like 55 pages. It needs to be redone because it needs to be updated with some newer information. But that's pretty much all that's going to be done, just to kind of address certain things that we were talking about in the book. And it's like 55 pages, and I want to say 32 of them are pictures. Right. So, and we tell you there's not going to be a sequel to this book that you could literally go through, and you can ask men these questions and they will give you the answers that we gave, like just defining the difference of relationships, how we view women, how we view them when they approach us, how we view them even before they approach us, and how we even set ourselves on that path. Like, okay, that is wife material. That is just hookup material. And all those things that, yeah, if you give us these like 90-day rules or whatever, how men go, like, my goal now is just to get it before 90 days. Because you put a challenge in front of us. You were like, all right, challenge accepted. But we address all that stuff in the book, and that's called Take That to the Bank. So just to kind of recap the books that I have: The Day the Sun Wouldn't Rise, Misery Loves Company, Take That to the Bank, and then the Pierre la Resistance, In the Company of Others. Yes, it is a great book. It is a great experience. I am super excited about that. I think, let's see. I don't know if there are any questions in the queue, but I think I will do another poem. This poem, I generally don't do these types of poems, but hey, let's try it. This is like kind of like those sensual poems that a lot of people do, but it's not like dirty, it's not like that. It's more erotic thinking. Let's put it that way. All right. So this poem is called Baby. Baby, I need you to be my love poem, written in iambic pentameter that only your heartbeat knows how to follow. Now imagine my thoughts massaging miracles into rhythm and rhyme, and the only reason, well, baby, my lips, they seem to have a crush on you. Now forgive me for being so forward, I just cannot ignore the fact that the strength of my tongue would always be into you, spinning epics between your thighs, carving constellation-sized orgasms on your mind, so every thought will be instant deja vu, and a simple lick of my lips would make you 1, 2, or 3 times before I even touch you, baby. Let me know your secret thoughts, so I can make every word I speak your next nine once. I won't pretend that I'm supersized, but I am built for distance. Like any good swimmer, I keep my strokes consistent, persistent. Your resistance is futile. Come back that booty up. We ain't too old to be juvenile, baby. Let me make sure you understand me. Hello is where you have me, but we about to get spiritual up in here. I mean, you will shout and scream when you understand how I speak in your body's native tongues. Now prepare your lungs to lose their breath as these hands practice braille on your chest, baby. I can never write you on paper, so let's just be wrong between these sheets. Why don't you melt between my thread count so I could still taste you in my sleep, baby? Let me get into your mind before you take off your clothes. I want to leave my name etched deep down in your soul. Have you thinking we're the only two in here? Now just imagine our bodies smeared together, liquid licorice lullabies whenever we are near each other. You can forget the word goodbye, because I'm here for the long haul. Won't stop until I knock down each and every wall you try to hide behind when I grab you. Arch your back so I can remind you, just like that. These ain't games. These are facts, baby. When you ask me to be honest with you, I will tell you the truth is in my eyes, and the only lies between us is when nothing but back-soaked deep strokes and smiles on your face lie between us, baby. There'll be no lickety splits. I will lick it in chips. The only place you'll be going is coming back to me. No wacky races to go first. Let's get down to it. Dastardly, baby. Like I said, I need you to be my love poem. I'm just waiting for you to reach the tip of my tongue. When I see you, be ready, because all I'm going to say is, baby. So yeah, that's that poem right there. So I hope you enjoyed it. That's something that I normally don't do. But every once in a while, you got to let people know that as an author, as a poet, as a writer, as a creative, you can do all kinds of things. So I believe, hey, that was cool. I did it. Did I time that right?
Perfectly. Yay. No, that was great. So yeah, like I want to expound on what you were saying as a writer, because I think part of our motivation for uh, trying to keep the writing workshops going is also introducing different types of genres of writing, right? And you mentioned earlier that it's difficult to read passages from your latest book, and that is because of the way you wrote it, right?
Exactly.
How did you write it? You wrote it in the form of a what?
I wrote it in the form of a script. And I wrote even Misery Loves Company. Both books are written like screenplay scripts. So they're meant to be like a sit and read where different people take on different characters and they read it as if they are those people. I didn't want to write it like your traditional novel. One, because I didn't want to have to like describe each and everything. I wanted the words themselves to be the descriptor. So if my voice is reading Misery's part or Erica's part and then Christopher's part, you may get what I'm saying. But when you hear the voice from a woman, when you hear the voice from a man who's going through this particular situation in that mindset and they're interacting with each other, I feel like you get a better understanding of it. So writing like a screenplay, because I see it as a movie, and that's kind of how I wrote it. Like all the things played out in my head.
Do you imagine yourself attempting to one day maybe make a small film or something using your own script?
Essentially, my goal originally was to have 3 books, a play, and a movie. And so Misery Loves Company was supposed to be, well, The Day the Sun Wouldn't Rise was technically supposed to be first. Misery Loves Company was supposed to be second. In the Company of Others was not a book that I had intended to write. Although when the idea came, I was like, yes, this is great. And then I had the idea for a screenplay that is called No Justice, Just Us, where I take 2 characters from Misery Loves Company and I unravel their story of how they got married, how it comes down to the legal system versus them. And it just kind of, puts the strength of the relationship. So I definitely see the screenplay eventually being written and being, put out there as a movie. And then people go like, well, hey, I want to follow up. And then like, yeah, you got to go back and read all the other stuff. And now you know who these people are and get a better understanding.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so let me ask you about your process when you're writing a novel as opposed to writing a collection of poetry. Do you storyboard? How do you approach it? Do you come up with the characters first, or do you have the situational thing first, and then you develop characters around it? What is your process in writing a novel?
Music is a strong influence. So I listen to a lot of different music from all across the gambit. So there are songs that I will hear that when I hear them in a solo moment, like I will get a feeling for something. And so I would like, okay, this is the emotion that I want in this scenario. So then I'll start writing a scenario. Now I will have characters developed just because I build them out. And there are some characters that I've never used. And then there's some characters that I introduce but never go back to, So it's like I have like a whole litany of characters that I can like pull from. And then I was like, okay, well, I want to tell this person's story. And then I kind of write around it. My process, generally, I have like the ending first because I'm pretty much like mean when it comes to my endings. And what I mean by that is everybody gets mad at me because the endings are so open-ended. Like there's no resolve. And I end it with like one sentence. And people go like, well, what happened? And I don't, the reason why I did it in Misery Loves Company is because I didn't know. Like in my head, I kept trying to figure it out. And I was like, well, that's too cliche. No, that's not, I don't want that. I said, because I don't know, I'm just letting you know that I don't know. So I just kind of ended it on a line where 2 people have sex, but you don't know who it is. And you can read the book backwards and forwards. You'll never figure it out because there's no key elements that go like, oh, it's these 2. Nope. You just know 2 people get it on, but you don't know who did it.
Okay. It's like a relationship mystery.
Yes.
Awesome. what do you? So when you mentioned that you had you no, it's I don't think I've had enough coffee today. You mentioned that you have a gallery showing a small gallery showing opening soft like the launch kind of for your book. Will there be like a choral read like a read through with different people of part of the book, or is it?
I mean, that's something that's totally possible.
Yeah.
We would just have to find people that would be willing to like sit and read from it. But I'm quite sure that in our community, anybody out there that would like to do it, that'd be awesome. Like we
Yeah.
could pick a scene and just have it happen. Yeah, we could totally do that.
I
So
was just, I
that,
was
like
just,
I
I was
said,
just wondering what your night looked like.
so again, as an artist, people are always asking to see my work or am I going to sell it? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to sell it because it's like my baby. And it's like you give it away or you sell it and you're like, I kind of want it back. And I don't want to be one of those people that just like, I know I sold it to you, but here's your money back. Can I have my painting back? So I felt like it would be really cool if people could just kind of walk around and see some of the different art styles that I have and just kind of enjoy that artwork and look at the descriptions of it, and kind of get a feel for that aspect of my creativity. But then also, everybody who come, there's going to be a little special something that everybody that's there is going to get. I won't tell you what, but it's going to be an amazing thing that you're literally going to walk out and be like this, hey, that was pretty cool. And if you don't say, hey, it's pretty cool, then that's okay. Because I know it's probably somebody like Nate Mask who might go like, yeah, it's not cool at all. Hey, Nate, congratulations on getting married.
Awesome, awesome. Hopefully they're on their honeymoon now, but hopefully they will see this in the future. This program will be on Facebook Live and YouTube Live forever. No, that's awesome. So So I know you're starting off the school this year as a you're full-time teacher, correct?
Full-time teacher, yes.
Okay. Now let's know what are you teaching?
So I'm going to be teaching at the Tri-Cities High School, and I'm going to be teaching audio, video, technology, and film. So that's going to be interesting, just because I'm going in kind of clean slated, and I don't know exactly if I'm going to have 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, 12th graders, a mixture of all. I have no idea, but I'll find out on tomorrow because tomorrow is the first day of school for teachers.
Wow,
So
I can hear the excitement in your voice. You're like you're really geeked about this, huh?
I am so freaking excited. Like,
is a classroom teacher something you wanted to be?
I've always wanted to be a teacher. But the thing that was my issue was trying to pass those tests that you have to pass. Like, I'm really bad at tests. I know the information, but when it comes to tests, I suck. And I was like, all right, I tried the positive thinking, I tried studying, I tried cheating and all that other stuff. And it never worked. So I was like, you know what? Apparently, I need to quit trying to take a test. But because my degree is in multimedia and web design, and I have like 17 years of experience in the field, but then I also have, 12 years of independent contract teaching. So that kind of opened me up to be able to get into the classroom, which is something I've always wanted to do, because in high school for me, I had a total of 5 Black male teachers, and they made such an impact on my life. And then even the other male teachers that I had, they all made an impact. Even my male principal had shout out to Dr. Lausch. They made such a great impact on the person that I am now. So it's like, I want to take everything that they gave me, and I want to at least find those diamonds in the rough that are like, yeah, I hate school. Yeah, I kind of didn't like school either, a little bit. I mean, I had to go because my mama would have whooped upside my head if I didn't. So, but the fact that they gave me enough knowledge to challenge authority in a respectful way, but they also told me how to choose my own path. That was a thing that was so much beneficial that I want to be able to show them. We need more Black media or Black-owned media out there, or minority-owned media out there. And I want to show them how to create it, not just be a Black Twitter or not just be, TMZ, but to be somebody that talks about all the great stuff that's going on in the community, stuff that's going on in their lives. Like, people let their generation tell their story the way that it needs to be told. So
Yeah. No, it's important. I mean, like, I think, it's interesting. Most poets and that I know, most of the poets that I know have some foot in education, be them an actual teacher or a librarian or homeschooler. Yeah, I always wanted to be a teacher too. So when I was in the classroom, it was very, very important for me to make it a place that people wanted to come to. And like one of the best compliments I ever got was a kid who was late for school and drugged their parent into the school to explain to me why they were late. And the mom was like, I overslept, but she was like, we don't do that, mom. And I was like, oh. And her mom, her mom was like, this has never happened. My kid has never been like, we got to go to school. We got to go to school. I remember once I had a kid who was so sick and she kept trying to come to school. And I called her mom. I was like, you do not let this child come to school. She is sick. And she says, well, she's really afraid that you're going to do something fun and she's not going to be there. So can you just tell her you're not going to do anything fun? I'm going to put her on the phone right now. So I had to lie to that child. But because you're going to keep your cooties at home, ma'am. But yeah, no, I love being in the classroom. I love working with young people. And I think even outside of being a classroom teacher, all of the things that I've done in my life now, including professionally, has been all about like helping and teaching and building and growing. I think those are some of the most important attributes we as human beings have and can share with one another. Are there any parting words you would like to leave us with, Mr. Funn?
yes. So one of the things that I'm working on putting things in my classroom, like I'm going to start decorating this week. But one of the things, there was the first African American newspaper was called Freedom's Journal, and they had a quote in there, and this is the quote that I kind of like will be the mantra for the class, and it says, "We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us." Like I feel like that is going to be the mantra for the class. Like I want you to feel like even me as an adult, I don't want to be the one speaking for you. I want you to speak your own cause, your own stories, your own existence. But I want you to learn from me on how to do it in the most effective way. So my hope and my goal, even with my writing of my books, my performances, is that I always want people to feel like they connect with me personally, but they feel like a sense of freedom that they can express themselves and their own causes. So those are my parting words.
Yay. No, I think you're going to have an excellent school year. And like I said, anything I can do to help, and you're right down the street from me here at the Arts Exchange. Feel free to come raid my library. I might have some posters and stuff left from when I was a classroom teacher. But yeah, it's so great to talk with you this afternoon, Mr. Funn. Thank you for all you do. And
Thank
again,
you.
those of you listening, Mr. Funn and I are virtually every Sunday night with the Java Speaks virtual open mic. You can find that event on Eventbrite, like you found this event. All of our events at the Arts Exchange are on our website, and you can generally find them on Eventbrite. But I want to give everybody give a round of applause, Mr. Funn. Yay! That's me. Other people clapping at their own homes. But thank you so much for being here with me today, and for sharing information about your book. Everybody out there in Facebook and YouTube world, y'all have a great and amazing rest of your afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.